How's she going? Mike here. Welcome back to Grampie's Workshop for another exciting day in the shop doing projects. Yeah, today's project you've seen before on my channel and probably multiple other channels too if you watch tractor videos. We're going to take the chains off the Massey Ferguson GC2300 today. So I can hardly contain my excitement. Let's get at her. Okay, to start to take the chains off, I've already taken the snowblower off the tractor and the plow. So I have the tractor in the shop now. Just want to jack it up at the back. Going to take the rear chains off first. I don't like to jack it too high because the tractor gets rocky now, as you see. So I think that'll be high enough. So first off, I want to talk about my little chain tensioners that I made last year. They work great, absolutely perfect. These, you know, it only took me a little bit of time making them up in the shop. They work great. So, enough about that, let's get them off now. Sometimes I tie wrap the chain pieces on, sometimes I wire them. But I see I have both on here, so I'm going to let this tie wrap go. One thing I like to make sure of when I'm doing my chains is that there's no loose ends flopping around, especially on the inside, because there's not a lot of clearance between the inside of the tire and some of the hydraulic controls. So now we just cut these wires, pull them back, and get access to remove this side of the chain, loosen it at least, not remove it. I also wired up the shackle pin because I didn't want my shackles to come loose, and they didn't. So that worked good too. I used to use the baling wire all the time, just nothing but baling wire. But the baling wire is hard to get in, hard to get it pulled tight. So this year, when I used the tie wraps, I'm kind of doing a test just to see how tight those tie wraps stayed. They stayed good, and they didn't come loose at all. So I think next year I'll just go with tie wraps instead of the baling wire. I think that'll work a lot better. So now I'm going to take this shackle off. These chains, by the way, I got them at TireChainsOnline.com, a company from North Carolina. It was hard to believe that I couldn't get any in Canada, but I couldn't. So I got these from Tire Chains Online. This was their second winter, and they work great. The nice big corks on them. They grip on the ice, they grip in the snow, they grip in gravel and mud, you name it. They can handle it. Okay, so now I'm going to do the disconnect here, the chain on the inside as well. So I have a couple of pieces of tie wrap here. And once more, I used the tie wraps on the inside, and it kept the chain really tight in there. So I was pleased with that. But I also used the baling wire to tie in these, the boomers. One of the things I don't like about the baling wire is it's hard to put on and get tight, and then it's hard to get it off too. So, but I guess that's good, because that means it's not going to fall off, eh? Alright, I think we're ready. We're going to unhook this one. Alright, that's that one. I didn't let this baling wire go because I'm hoping I can get the chain off before I do that. So now we'll let this outside boomer go. Well, I guess I'm going to have to let this one off, aren't I? I thought I could cheat. But the law of the jungle is there's no such thing as a shortcut. There's time savers, you know, that we can do, but there's no shortcuts. A time saver is different than a shortcut, right? And I was trying to take a shortcut and it didn't work. Okay, so let that go out of there. And we'll put this back in here so we don't lose it. And before my chain gets too away from itself, I'm just going to pull it off, grab it at the bottom, pull it off. So just to be a little different, I'm going to start on the inside on this side and work my way around. My pliers are magnetized now. Take my tensioners off. You know, they weren't holding a lot of tension on the chain, these, but just enough, so that's good. All right. So 5 free links on the outside, 6 free links on the inside. Remember that? There. So that guy's free, this one's free. And off comes the chain. Okay, so now the chains are off the back. It's a good chance too to give a little check of the rear end, see how everything's making out. See if your tires suffered any adverse wear over the winter with the chains buffing on them. I find that where the chain rubs down here on the sidewall because it gets down in between the ribs, sometimes it can cause some grief, but all it's done here is just shine it up, I think. My rims are still good, no signs of rust there. I filled my wheels with windshield washer fluid, and I'll put a link to that video in the description down below. But the windshield washer fluid, I use that because it's supposedly less corrosive. I'm not going to say it's non-corrosive, it's less corrosive, and so far it's working good. And the way I filled them is I turned the valve stem was up like this, and I filled them till it just started to come out the valve stem, so they're about, I'm guessing, 3/4 full. So you see there's a little bit comes out there, so it's still, I haven't lost any fluid, that's a good sign. Alright, so everything doesn't look too bad in there. So here on the front of the tractor, when I put the chains on, or take them off usually, I have the bucket on. Well, this time I don't have the bucket, I have the bucket off still. So I need to jack up the front of the tractor, and if you look here, under the front, that's the hydraulic cylinder for the steering, the power steering. And remember, these are the flanges I changed last year. So I don't want to jack on that, but right in front of that there's a nice beefy piece of metal cross member there. So I'm going to put my jack in that and lift it up. Doesn't have to lift it very far. I'm ready to get that and lift it up a couple of pumps. Just enough to get the tires to spin. That should be perfect right there. So these tensioners I have on the front, they're just some of those springs too that I had, and they work great as well, I must say. So here we have some baling wire again holding this fixing link on here. Hard to get all the baling wire of it. And then the extra link, and there's only one free link on this one, make a note of that too. So that's ready to unhook. Okay, now front chains, they just unhook here, and then they just unhook here. And then you do the same as the back. You just roll the wheel, pull the chain off. Pretty simple. Alright, bit of a different angle here. You take the chain tensioners off. Going to undo the inside first. So 2 free links on the inside, and then this just unhooks, just a simple little thing like that, if you saw that. One free link on the outside. The reason there's 2 free links on the inside and 1 on the outside is I don't put any chain tensioner on the inside, so I make this loop smaller and I tension everything on the outside. That keeps everything nice and tight against the tire, just in case you're interested in that. I must say, boys, I did a good job with this baling wire. Chances are the chains wouldn't come loose through the winter, you know, without putting the baling wire on it. But man, if they ever did, I think it would be, you'd have a lot of problems. You'd probably damage your tractor. Alright, so that's free. So we let that go. Let that go, and then we just unroll them. The way I store my chains is I have these plastic buckets and I put them in there. I like to put oil on them just to kind of beat the rust off that's on them over the winter and keep rust from forming up again. And what I do for my oil is I have TDH oil. This is tractor differential hydraulic oil. I just put a little bit of that on. So then what I'll do then is these chains will just sit in that oil, and over the next couple, 3 weeks I'll flip-flop them so that, because all the oil of course can drain the bottom of the plastic bucket. But anyway, they'll be goodly soaked, goodly covered. Then I'll hang them up somewhere, let them drip for another week or 2, and then I'll store them away for the winter. Well, there was an exciting video, I bet. I bet you never saw chains coming off a tractor before. There's lots of videos out there about how to do it. But this isn't a how-to channel, that's for sure. This is what I do, and this is what I do when I take my chains off the GC2300. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you stayed to the end. If you did, how about thumbs up at me? And leave me a comment. I always like getting comments. And if you're new to the channel, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. And I hope you come back often. In the meantime, folks, you know, April's just about done now. She's toast. Starting into May, you know what that means. Black flies. Take care, folks. We'll talk to you.